What's up, beautiful souls? Yeah, you saying hello too? Damon also says hello. So today I wanted to share an interesting story with you guys. This is something I've wanted to tell a lot more people about, but I've just been, hesitant to, because I haven't really known what would happen if I told people about it. And I think it's pretty cool. I've told a very, very select few. I think I met a fallen angel while I was meditating who has come to me and became something. So, but before I get started, I want to give a little bit of background, since I haven't talked a lot about what I exactly believe in. So I was raised a Christian, but I happened to find the pagan path later down the years. Just never fit with me. The Christian path. I think it was about 2009. I was in high school, 9th grade, freshman, when I started dabbling, getting interested in Wicca. Wicca didn't stay too long because for me there was way too many rules still. Do this, do that, you have to have this here, and I was like, no, that doesn't fit. So I ended up becoming, the labels don't matter, but I ended up becoming what I would call an eclectic pagan. So I just kind of borrow beliefs from every religion, whatever feels right to me. So yeah. So to start off, when people hear that I believe that I'm not a Christian, or that I believe in many gods, they're like, oh, so you don't believe in God. That's not necessarily true. So it's kind of confusing for me. See, I think everything here in this world is from one source. Comes in the terms what? Comes from the source. The saying, we are one. That saying means that we are all part of the same thing. We're different, but I think I might have mentioned this before in my last video, I don't remember, but like stained glass, we all form a big picture, but we're all different little tiny pieces, but we're still one, we're still part of the whole. And I think that one source, whatever it was, I don't think it had a gender, it had anything, it was just everything and nothing at the same time, whatever that means. But I think in order to experience everything, it had to split into fragments. And as a consequence, there's you, there's me, there's this world, there's what we see as good, evil, that's kind of a dualistic point of view, but I think to see things sometimes in certain ways, we've put them in these categories because it helps, but in true essence, they're all part of the same thing. They're just the way of life, the universe balancing itself. And so, just like I think we are all the fragments of the source experiencing itself, I think all the gods that are part of polytheistic beliefs, or even the monotheistic god, depending on what culture, I think they're all part of the same fragment. They're all just different fragments, different manifestations. I also have to apologize for my AC. I'm sorry, it's very loud. Anyway, so there are various layers of the source, and we see them in different things, within us, within spirits, gods, elves, fairies, animals, everything. It's just different layers upon layers of the source expressing itself. And the way I like to think about it is the source started out as one light beam, and then it went through a prism, like a crystal prism. And when it goes through that, it branches out into the rainbow to display many different colors. when it happens, you have categories, but not exactly. I mean, most cultures, I think, have 7 colors of the rainbow, but different cultures actually can have different, because they've placed the categories in different spots so they can see more colors. That being said, it's kind of sidetracking. The colors are kind of categories per se, to where maybe the gods fall in. So like, you have, let's say, like a love god that's in this ray, and then you have all these gods that are kind of similar within that ray. And then that's where we have all the gods that are very similar to one another, but not the same. Where like, this god could be that god. So I think when we say that this god is that god, it's true in the sense that it's all part of the same source, but not true. I think in a sense it could be, maybe it's like the sister of that person, or essence, god, whatever. And in some circumstances maybe it was the same essence, energy, that someone just explained in a different way. But to get back on track, I don't believe, let me re-put that. I don't disbelieve in the Christian Hebrew God. I think some people, when they refer to God, they're speaking of just an all eternal being, who's just love, whatever. You can go many different definitions with that. And then I think other people talk in terms of God, and they see a male presence of sorts with a certain kind of personality. And for me, I've seen that personality is kind of similar throughout the board. It's kind of like hearing stories about your uncle from different people. It's not going to be the same exact story. They're not going to all have the same relationship with that person. And that goes into, for me, the God, when people talk about, when they're referring to that, the Christian Hebrew God, I kind of see, I put him as Yahweh, Jehovah, God, and I personally have nicknamed him the Desert God. It's just a personal thing. Now, I think angels are a creation from the Yahweh energy. They're within the same, I guess, spectrum band. And let's see, let me get my thoughts together. I never wanted to work with angels much, simply because of that, because I was raised Christian and I decided I didn't want to be a part of that. Because it just, me and Jehovah, Yahweh, we didn't get along. He was just, let's say, a family member I didn't really get along with. We didn't see eye to eye. Like, we've talked, we've had our relationships in the past, and he's definitely tried tapping me on the shoulders many times, but we just don't see eye to eye. I don't want to follow his path. It's not mine. I'm forging my own way. And sorry. But because of that, I found other people, other gods. So maybe not people, depending on, never mind. I found my gods, and I just felt more comfortable with them. And within my beliefs, I've been branching out, and I'm very open to listening to every religion and being like, alright, that makes sense, or being like, these two seem similar, so let me connect the dots. I think I'm ready to dabble back in Christian theology. because I think every religion has a truth within it, or perhaps it's talking about the same truth in just different perspectives, different perceptions. And because of this, I started getting more interested in this because in college I was taking a class this last semester. It was a science supernatural skeptics class, and it went over a whole lot of different stuff. It was really cool. And we talked about angels at points where people would start summoning angels, some people using them to do their bidding. I'm not a huge fan of making anything do your bidding. But anyway, so I started getting interested in angels again, and I was like, they make me uncomfortable. Like, I never liked the archangels personally. They never really said well, but I was always drawn to fallen angels. And there's the book of Enoch that always got me, that talked about how the angels fell, and then they taught humanity magic and gifts. They brought them many things, and I was fascinated by that. And in some beliefs, some people think that they were taught like sinful things. I think in Enoch it doesn't necessarily say, it might be up for interpretation. But as I was thinking about this, I was like, well, that's interesting. So in my classes, my teacher was talking about how she came across this Hebrew Jewish reference that was talking about how the angels might have actually been sent here to cover our eyes, to prevent us humans from seeing the bad stuff, to help us have a straight line to the path to where we were going, so we wouldn't lose our mind, so we wouldn't see the demons, we wouldn't see true reality. And so I'm like, alright, cool. And I started thinking about that more, and like, that's fascinating. And then I couldn't help but think, in my other class, I was taking chemistry, my teacher just happened to, for some reason, he was talking about quantum mechanics, and he had a weeping angel up on the board. You know, the weeping angels with their eyes covered. And I love Doctor Who. And that just, I was like, why am I seeing angels everywhere? And so I started thinking, I was like, well, that's interesting. My interpretation of what my teacher was saying, I was like, maybe the angels are covering our eyes because they were told to. Maybe Yahweh told these angels, because he created them, he was like, I want you to go down and help these humans, but I also don't want you to show them true reality, because if you show them true reality, they're going to know their true power. They're going to know their true potential, their true divinity. And God didn't want that, because God, I think this Yahweh wanted to control everything. He liked the power so much that he, honestly, you can see all around the world, I think he took over. He put a lot of control in everything. But I think the angels that decided to fall said, no, there's no more, we have to go down, we have to teach these humans the truth, we have to tell them true reality. Because what I've found from my own research and stuff is that we don't see true reality. We see what we're trained to see. We've evolved to see things that allow us to survive, not exactly see the true reality. There's a huge spectrum, and we're only seeing the tiny visible spectrum, this little small band. When this band is like huge, we're missing a lot. So this got me thinking, I'm like, so what else is out there? These angels have been covering our eyes, trying to help us, or not actually help us, but deceive us. And then I think, though, for some who like try to defy perhaps Yahweh, the path, the angels then like open their eyes, and it's a floodgate. They fucking lose their mind. because it's so much, it's too much all at once. This will make sense in a second when I tell you about the angel I met. They have the ability to make us lose our minds, but they can show us the true potential of our powers that we have. When I was meditating, I wasn't really looking for anything. I was just sitting there meditating on the floor, and I heard this voice, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. It just seemed to stick out to me, so I took note of it. And the name was Razamel. I was like, alright, I don't know what that means. I started thinking, I was like, Razamel. El sounds like a Hebrew angel name. And so I started doing some research. I looked up on Google. It was like the angel Razamel. Nothing popped up. And then so I got curious, and I typed in the word Razam, Hebrew. And lo and behold, Google popped up an actual translation for the word Razam. I hope I'm saying that right, but at least that's the way it was given to me. And this is where I got mind fucked. So Razam means to flash of the eyes, potentially to wink, like, or in mockery. Basically, when you look at the word El being of God, or of the Creator, it kind of sounded like one, mockery of the Creator, or of God, depending on how you want to look at it. It was kind of like a mockery of maybe the creator of that angel, perhaps not necessarily creator of this reality. But the big part, the most definite definition, was to flash of the eyes. And that made perfect sense, because I had been learning the angels have been covering our eyes, keeping us from the actual truth. And this thing that came to me has the name Razamel. So it's the flash of the eyes of God, the flash of the eyes of the truth, maybe. Or maybe it's, the way I really interpret is her name, their name. I don't really think it's a he or she. I think it's non-binary. Basically is a mockery of this God who wants to keep us asleep. And Razamel is literally the personification of an angel that fell to help me, to help give me the flash of the truth, not too much, because too much all at once can fuck you up. I know, it can fuck you up really bad, but just a little bit at a time, enough for you to absorb over time. That was just enough. And my mind just was mind blown. I was like, oh my god, this makes total sense. There's actually a word for it in the Hebrew language. And ever since that, my life has just shifted dramatically. Like, I've been trying to see real reality. And I get home yesterday and I was walking towards the library where I live, and I found that it was closed. But as I was walking there was just a rabbit that jumps out in the middle of the road. I live in the city, mind you, and this rabbit just hops out in the middle of the fucking road, just staring at me. I'm like, what's up? And I don't know if I think I'll try to put a picture in here. And he was really cute, and he just kind of sat there, and I was like, this has to be a sign. I must be headed in the right direction. The universe always talks to you in symbols. You just have to learn how to read them. If you learn how to read the writing on the walls, your entire world will change. The walls won't even exist. The spoon doesn't exist. So I think that's all I really want to tell you guys. I don't definitely talk about this more if anyone wants to chat about it, but I think I've told you all I can. So I guess in that case, I wish you all a great day, great night, wherever you are, whenever you're viewing this, and have a good one. I would say stay sane, but try to become insane, because then you'll really see the real reality. So, blessed be.